Hey guys, welcome to the channel and another video. Today I'm going to be watching Platoon by Oliver Stone starring Charlie Sheen. It's a film I've known about all my life. When I was in my teens, I used to mix Platoon up with Coppola's Apocalypse Now, probably because they were both set in or around the Vietnam War. I realized this in my late teens and I actually never got around to watching it for some reason until today. I've watched my fair share of Oliver Stone films before, including Wall Street and its sequel, JFK, Alexander, and The Doors. He has a very unique and realistic approach to filmmaking, which I rather enjoy. About Platoon, though, apart from knowing it stars Charlie Sheen and possibly Willem Dafoe, and being set around the Vietnam War era, I don't know much else about this film. I was told to expect a couple of cameos from then unknown actors, so I'll try to look out for that. But before we get into it, to help support the channel, I have a Patreon page with over 40 reactions. You'll need your own copy to watch along, of course. Please consider being a patron. Please subscribe to the channel. Do check out my other videos, like if you liked this video, dislike it if you didn't. With all that being said, let's get started. Platoon, Stone, Sheen. Let's go! Oliver Stone. Tom Berenger. I know of that actor before, but I can't recall anything I've seen from him. Willem Dafoe. Charlie Sheen. He's third in the credits? I thought he's the lead actor. Platoon. Apparently it's based a little on Oliver Stone's own experience in Vietnam. September 67. Somewhere near the Cambodian border, and it's Bravo Company. Films shot in the jungle are so difficult to do. Forrest Whitaker! Okay, that's somebody I know well. Kevin Dillon. Am I going to reckon Johnny Depp? Okay. I'm really enjoying Stone's use of deep greens as the introduction to the film. I'm assuming they're on an active mission because everybody's quiet and we can only hear the sounds of the jungle. No music whatsoever. Written and directed by Oliver Stone. Yeah, that's a derogatory term nowadays. I think he's getting a hard dose of reality.
What the hell's the matter with you, Taylor?
Oh, that must be Tom Berenger. I barely recognize him. Oh, Red Ants. Dafoe is such a versatile actor. I'm a big fan of his work. So far the set design is so detailed. There's no CGI here, so it's all real.
Hey, I can't eat this shit, Harold.
What you been smoking, Junior?
Whitaker.
That's what this place feels like. Hell.
There's a voiceover.
It's scary because nobody tells me how to do anything because I'm new.
Blew a whole fucking platoon to pieces. Bad shit.
That's the doctor from Scrubs.
They don't know shit, Barnes, and chances are we're gonna run into something. Think about it.
Your short-timers stay in, but you go out. I need veterans out there.
I think in front of the men, it's necessary for me to give the orders.
She's waiting for me, too. She's
Motivation.
real pretty. You're a lucky guy, Garner.
I still haven't heard any hint of a soundtrack or a score yet, which is very interesting.
Look, in case anything happens to you, you get lost or separated, don't yell out, okay?
Okay.
Good advice. The cinematography here is very well done, especially the whole color and framing.
Live up to what Grandpa did in the first war, and Dad did in the second. Well, here I am.
Wow, he's a third generation soldier.
But most of them got nothing. They're poor. They're the unwanted. Yet they're fighting for our society and our freedom.
It's so true even now.
Maybe I can see something I don't yet see or learn something I don't yet know. I miss you. I miss you very much.
He's trying to be optimistic as much as he can, but circumstances are not allowing him to. Using only the sounds of the jungle really ramp up the tension. I don't know what to expect. It's been quiet for a while. They're getting ambushed. He needs to do something.
Motherfucking Claymore! Stop!
Oh man, the gun sounds in this film are excellent. They have a lot of weight to them. And you can hear the ricochet almost.
How bad is it?
He let him walk right up on us. He was sleeping on his goddamn shit. Shut up. Shut up and take the pain.
Take the pain. But I don't think this dude has a very good chance of survival.
Come on, Gardner. Help me. Don't give up.
Someone you spend day in and day out for months just dies in a split second, and you're expected to get over it and move on. The psychological toll that has on a person, I can't imagine.
You don't sleep on no fucking ambush.
Not only he didn't sleep, he didn't rat anybody out as well.
I'm personally gonna take an interest in seeing them suffer.
Man, it'd be alive if you had a few more days to learn something.
Whenever they're out of the jungle, Stone is using music, and whenever they're in the jungle, I think he just wants the natural sounds. And the sound design itself of the film has been so good so far, with the gun sounds and the ambient noise. It really brings you inside the jungle with the actors, as in the soldiers.
Hey, Taylor. Oh, are you back?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Back to the world.
These are huge sets that Oliver Stone built for this film.
How in the fuck you get here anyway? Oh, you look educated.
I volunteered for it.
You do what?
He volunteered.
You volunteered for this shit, man?
Believe that?
What we got here is a crusader.
Exactly. White Rabbit, Jefferson Airplane is a fantastic song, but I don't know whether it applies here. It's oh, they're just getting high.
First time?
Prime lens, full frame.
Yeah, it feels good.
His high is kicking in just as the song is speaking.
Put your mouth on this.
Damn.
Need anything? No, sir.
Even though he seems in charge, it looks like nobody actually respects him. They're all for O'Neill and Elias.
What are you saving up to be? Jewish?
I'll catch you men later.
From what I noticed, there are two camps forming. The pacifists, I wouldn't call them pacifists, but you know, they're getting high and having a good time, and the sober group who are very serious and they want to get their job done. Charlie Sheen's Taylor is siding with Elias and the rest of the pacifists. They're not pacifists, they're soldiers, but you know what I mean. Man, I can't get over how realistic the jungle sounds. I've been in the jungle in the forest, and especially in Southeast Asia, I've been around that area. It sounds very, very accurate. A lot of directors choose to show a lot of exposition during the downtime, but Stone is not. I wonder where they shot this film, because the jungle, especially the leaves, landscape looks very tropical. It has to be Asia, right? It has to be on or near location. There hasn't been too much action yet. We're still getting introduced to the characters, and I'm getting familiar with their unique personalities. We had the exact same thought process, Taylor and I.
You got maps?
Man, this is goof stuff. Let's get out of here.
No, Sal, this is important. This is important.
Exactly. Oh man. No medic can save him out here, man. Oh my goodness, the prosthetic work there was insane. Not many directors would have had the confidence to use constant cricket noise in the background, they would have probably thought it would have been too distracting for the audience, but I don't think so. I think it's a constant reminder for the audience that they're out in nature.
Motherfuckers.
Don't lie! Don't lie! There you go, Sarge.
These are, most of them I assume are just normal villagers with no agenda.
Let them move!
Ba em lên. Ba.
Holy crap!
Come on, motherfucker! Be cool, be cool. They're scared, man. They're scared. Oh, they're scared, huh? What about me, man?
Everybody's scared in reality.
Why the fuck didn't you listen to me?
Do it, man. Do him.
He's losing his humanity. Just a month and a half ago, he was just some kid, and look at him now. Oh man!
Shit, you see that fucking head come apart, man? I never seen brains like that before, man.
Tại sao bố cô theo?
Quý vị Tung, tìm mỹ bỏ bùm.
That's Johnny Depp! I barely recognized him.
Ở đây con có là Việt Cộng không biết không?
Người Mỹ bằng
He swears he doesn't know anything.
Đừng có nói! Shut up!
Hả?
Ông Mỹ bằng chết!
Chiếc cà biết không?
O'Neill, don't do something crazy.
Rồi trời ơi!
I have nothing to say. I don't know what to say. Don't do it. Your character instantly becomes irredeemable. I understand adults, but no children.
Fuck you think you're doing?
Oh. His name is Barnes, not O'Neill. I mixed them up. My bad.
You ain't a firing squad, you piece of shit!
Yeah, the whole platoon is divided into two. Barnes's people and Elias's people.
This shit won't wash your fucking pew! Bring it up! Captain says to torch this place, you hear that?
And he's the commanding officer who's actually not in charge.
Alright, move it out!
Just doing it so casually. Dylan's character actually killed the mother. It's a good thing that Oliver Stone is showing both sides of the conflict. Again, war is fought between governments and not ordinary people, even though they are the ones who end up in the front line.
Don't do it! You fucker! Fucking thing! She's a fucking human being, man! Fuck you!
They're children. They're children, and those characters for me have already become irredeemable. They burnt the entire settlement.
Ain't no need or time for a courtroom out here.
It's gonna get everybody in this platoon in deep shit.
Dylan's character is so indoctrinated.
Barnes has got it in for you, doesn't he?
Barnes believes in what he's doing. We're gonna lose this war.
Well, Elias, you're not wrong about your prediction. Defoe recently made a film with Robert Pattinson called The Lighthouse. Do let me know whether that's worth watching on the channel or not, because I haven't seen it yet. We're about halfway through the film and we haven't seen too much action sequences except for the raid in the village and the beginning. Oh! Johnny Depp is dead? We're getting more exposition through visuals rather than dialogue. And I really appreciate the explosions in this film as well because they're very realistic.
I need 3 men! Kill you got him! Take off!
Stone is barely showing the North Vietnamese army shooting at them, and that's reflective of real life because they used a lot of guerrilla warfare against the Americans. Barnes is unfazed. Again, the sound design of this film is just insanely well done.
Did you hear the already shift? We're pulling back. Now get your wounded man and get the fuck back to church. Get going.
It's an RPG. Just based on the music, I'm getting a little nervous.
Hey, where are you going?
Taylor's going after Elias because he doesn't trust Barnes. Well, I don't trust Barnes. Oh no, he's not lowering his weapon. He actually did it. 3 shots to the chest.
Elias is dead. Fall back with a platoon.
The makeup work in this film, man. It's minimalistic and it's true to life. Man, I feel bad for Elias. I can't believe Stone just killed him off like that. Again, a lot of directors would use dramatic action music in these sequences, but not Stone. He's alive! 3 shots to the chest and he's still running. Oh, man. And the music kicks in. This must have been incredibly difficult to coordinate. Oh, man. And this is the image from the poster. But this means that Taylor clearly knows that Barnes was lying.
I know that he killed him. I saw his eyes when he came back in.
You got no proof, man.
Proof's in the eyes, man. When you know, you know.
Bond's been shot 7 times. And he ain't dead. Does that mean anything to you, huh?
Damn, 7 times.
Talking about killing.
Oh, he's been listening the whole time. Which makes me even more scared for Taylor and the rest.
Well, here I am, all by my lonesome. Kill me.
He doesn't fear death, so I don't think that's the most appropriate punishment for him. And the arrogance, he's disappointed that they didn't take action.
I shit on all you.
You motherfucker!
Oh, except Taylor. That was a precise cut.
They sent us back into the valley the next day.
This film used at least 3 to 4 helicopters, which means they had trained helicopter pilots who could land in jungles and stuff.
How come you ain't writing nobody? What about your folks?
That's a big reveal. He stopped writing.
It's great, King. I'm happy for you, man. You're taking it home for me, okay? You got my address. You know where you can get a hold of me anytime, right?
At least one of them is getting out of this place.
Please fuck that. No, man, don't touch this. I gotta get on the chopper, man.
Bob, I got a license R&R. It's coming up in 3 days.
Get back in your foxhole.
Bob, I got a bad feeling on this one, all right?
The nighttime is where the American army is at a full disadvantage because it's Vietnam's home turf. So they know the landscape and layout a million times better than the Americans.
Here it is, man. We got gooks in the fucking perimeter.
They're just shooting indiscriminately now.
Out of the hole, fast!
Oh, it's probably a bomb warning.
Go, let's go!
He's charging directly into the Vietnam army. You call him gutless? I might call him rational. But at the end of the day, both of them are dead. Apart from Elias's death, they haven't glorified or used music in any of the other deaths. Oh my goodness, the explosion!
Captain, we've been overrun. We're pulling back. Over. Goddamn, Lieutenant, where are you gonna pull back to?
It's a suicide mission. And the entire frame is being lit just by explosions and gunfire. Holy crap! What a beautiful white shot. And when I said Stone is taking a realistic approach, I didn't mean this gritty. Wow. I don't know whether I should have concentrated more on Barnes trying to kill Taylor or just that beautiful explosion. But without that explosion, Taylor would have been dead. I don't think there's any direct visual metaphors in this film. It's more social commentary about war and the effects it has on the psychological state of a person. And this is clearly not an action film as well. Even though we see a bunch of action sequences, that's not the focus of the story at all. Makeup work done on Charlie Sheen is unsettling. It's Barnes. What are you going to do, Taylor? No.
Go on, boy.
Well, it takes 10 shots to kill Barnes.
You okay? You alright? You what?
I forgot his name, but he survived. I'm glad. Did he just stab himself? I watched 1917 earlier this week, and there's a line that applies equally here. One of the commanding officers says, "Some men are in it just for the fight." And I feel like that's true for Barnes as well as Kevin Dillon's character. They just want to fight. Holy crap, what a set and what a shot.
Hey, Francis.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Okay, how you doing?
Fine, man, just fine. Hey, dig it. We two-timers, man. We gonna get out of here, boy. I'm gonna see you in the hospital.
Is that why he stabbed himself? So he could get injured twice so he can leave? If that's the case, that's so messed up. I think we're approaching the end of the film.
I think now, looking back,
He can finally let himself go.
the war is over for me now, but it will always be there for the rest of my days.
Exactly. Basically, he wants all this sacrifice to mean something at the end. I get that. Dedicated to the men who fought and died in the Vietnam War. Johnny Depp. His first name was Chris. I just got that. I just called him Taylor throughout the entire runtime. Okay, so I took some time to collect my thoughts. First off, that was a very well-made war film. Oliver Stone really does have a unique directing style. He didn't use any overt music at all to ramp up the tension. Instead, he used atmospheric and ambient sounds to convey the psychological state of the soldiers. The cinematography, editing, sound design, and the well-written characters were the highlights of the film for me, whereas some of the performances were a little hit and miss in my opinion. Let's get right into it with the writing and directing by Oliver Stone. The story starts off with Charlie Sheen's character, Chris Taylor, landing on the front lines of the Vietnam War. No time is wasted at all, because as soon as he lands, he's sent on an ambush of the North Vietnamese army. The way Taylor's character stood out like fish out of the water compared to the veterans was really well done. And we get the idea that Taylor might have just been an idealist who was dumb enough to sign up for this war, volunteer in fact. Stone then spends the rest of the first act and almost halfway through the second act introducing us and building the characters in the film. Although the platoon is commanded by Lieutenant Wolf, the soldiers really in charge of the platoon were the veterans Elias and Barnes. Stone sets up these two characters at complete opposite ends in terms of their philosophy. Elias being a pot-smoking pacifist who is against taking innocent lives, and Barnes being a borderline alcoholic, hardened war veteran willing to do anything necessary to, including killing children, to win the war. It's no surprise that Taylor ends up on Elias's side, and soon the platoon becomes divided in half, all while having to deal with the NVA's constant attacks. I have to note, even though generally Stone showed us the war from the American perspective, he does spend some time showing us the suffering of ordinary Vietnamese people, like in the first act where the Americans raided and destroyed an entire settlement, killing quite a few innocent people along the way. Those scenes were very important as it went to show the horrors of the war and the effect it had on both sides. These ordinary poor kids get drafted and sent directly to the front lines. Since they're so young, they can be easily manipulated into thinking that they're doing the right thing by killing the enemy and not distinguishing between them at all. This was particularly true of Kevin Dillon's character in the film. By the third act, Oliver shows us Barnes killing and abandoning Elias after feeling threatened that Elias might report him for the illegal murders he committed during the raid. That was very hard to watch, being shot several times and running for your life until you're gunned down. I imagine Elias's last thoughts that was going through his head was a feeling of abandonment by his fellow soldiers and most of all his country. After surviving a huge ambush in the middle of the night and also almost being killed by Barnes, Taylor does the right thing by ending Barnes' life by shooting him. I don't know exactly how to feel about Barnes' death because he seemed to get exactly what he wanted. I feel like he wanted to fight and he wanted to die. The film ends exactly how it began, with a helicopter shot of Taylor. This time around, however, he hopes that all the sacrifice he made and the others paid doesn't go in vain, and even though the war might have ended, it certainly did not end for him. Great overall writing and directing. The cinematography and editing were really good in the film too. The wide aerial shots, the close tight shots of the actors using prime lenses, and the tracking shots were very impressive, considering they were shot in a jungle. And also the color palette used was very appropriate. The editing was better than the cinematography in my opinion, with no quick cuts to confuse the audience at all. It was very smooth flowing and easy to follow. Even during the downtime, when the soldiers were just walking, the editing and the framing of the soldiers were great. The music was pretty good, but the sound design was amazing. I only recognize one song from the film, Jefferson Airplane's White Rabbit, which is a favorite of mine. Apart from that, there was an underlying score that was used heavily only twice. Once when Elias dies, and the second time at the end when Taylor was leaving. I like the fact that Stone kept it intentionally minimal, which forced the audience to listen to the sounds of the jungle's atmosphere and ambience. The sound design was just amazing here. I was listening on surround sound on the headphones and I could hear each and every bullet whiz by. I could hear the rustling of the grass as the soldiers moved quietly. I could hear the birds and the crickets constantly. This kept reminding the audience that they're in the middle of a jungle far, far away from home. The practical effects, by that I mean mostly the explosions, were so satisfying and realistic. So were the sets and their design. The stunt work involving the helicopters was really well done too. But the makeup and the prosthetic work done on the actors is what really sold the film for me. Sold the look of the film for me. Great work in this department too. Charlie Sheen played Chris Taylor, the new recruit just joining the Vietnam War in its last days. His performance was pretty good, At times, I was a little unconvinced about his trauma, but he did pull his weight considerably well compared to the others. His transformation from a fresh-faced soldier to a battle-scarred war veteran was sad but wonderful to watch. Too bad Sheen didn't have much of a film career after the 90s, because I do feel like he's a pretty good actor in general. Tom Berenger's performance as Sergeant Barnes, however, was the highlight of the film for me in terms of performance. It's a big case of I really hated the actor but loved the performance. He played his character with a sense of moral superiority, that he was doing the right thing for his country at any expense. Although I could see where he was coming from, by the time he threatened to kill children, he lost all redeemable value in my books. I would love to see more of his work, so please do recommend some. Willem Dafoe was equally great as Sergeant Elias. His performance was layered, and I could see where he was coming from as well. Although his character felt like war was necessary, he did not want to take innocent lives and actively tried stopping it as much as possible. This does lead to his death at the end. I really do believe that Willem's character dies in the most honorable way in the film. Overall, this was a great war film, really good. I wouldn't go as far as to say it was better than Apocalypse Now, but definitely a must watch for anybody really, but for lovers of the genre especially. Thank you for this wonderful recommendation, guys. Anyways, thank you for watching. I have a Patreon page, consider being a patron. Subscribe to the channel, do check out my other videos. Like if you liked this video, dislike it if you didn't. I will see you in the next one. Bye.